We're live.
Hello. Hello,
Hello. So,
everybody.
hello. I was told that at the beginning of every single lesson, video, Zoom call, podcast that I do, I say, hello, hello, hello.
It's your signature.
Hello, hello, hello. Is anybody listening? Are we live? That's apparently what I always follow up hello, hello, hello with. We do have a listener.
That's funny. I feel like we also have a signature that every time we come on our show, we're just getting on. So we're just not saying hello to each other too and laughing because we're late. And
Yes, because it's very funny to be late.
it is. That's so much humor to the day.
My gosh, there's a lot of hammering on my end. I'll try and mute myself if it gets too bad. Hello, hello, hello.
I love it. Hi,
Allison, I
Liz.
missed you last week.
I know. I was sad I couldn't be there. Tell everybody what you did for all the people on
Oh,
my end too.
all right, so last Friday, so I just got home from being away since last Friday, but we had our first ever Clutter Boss retreat, which was phenomenal. That was Sunday through Thursday up in Lake Placid, New York. And on Friday before that, so when we would normally be doing our podcast, I have a 14-year-old daughter who wants to become a 46er, and a 46er is somebody who climbs the 46 highest peaks in New York State. So all of the peaks that are over 4,000 feet. Well, except two of them are not over 4,000 feet, but their measuring was like a little off back in the day. So you still have to climb these mountains with no view. Like not exactly. Anyway, being a 46er is like a massive accomplishment. And I think, when you hear that somebody's a 46er, you're like, oh, great, you did 46 hikes. But these hikes are so hard. So Anastasia and I left last Friday morning early because most of them take the vast majority of the day, if not overnight, to hike because they're so long. And we did a shorter one. It only took us 7 hours.
Wow.
But it was phenomenal. And so it was our 5th high peak. So right now we're 5ers, but we've done
So
the 5.
she's done 5 with you. I didn't realize that you guys did hiking together. That's really cool.
Yeah. Yep. So so it was really fun. It was really nice to spend the day just with her.
Mm.
And then, of course, the hiking and the beginning, the first like 4 miles were flat and easy. And then you just go straight up,
Oh, wow.
straight up for a long time.
That's so impressive. So how long do you think it takes to become a 46er?
Years. I mean, most people, it
Mm.
takes years. Some people, knock it out quickly, but
Mm.
for most people, it really takes years because there's just, it's, the hikes are hard and long. And
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, if a 7-hour hike is a shorter one, I can imagine.
like one of the shortest ones.
Wow. So are most of the others, like, go into overnight or how does that?
It really depends. So, like, there's a couple of like series of like ranges, like mountain ranges. And so most of the peaks are on like a series. So you could do them. It makes more sense. Okay. So, here, for example, the last 2 that we did, they were Algonquin and Iroquois, and to get to Iroquois, you have to go up Algonquin, down a little bit, and then back up for Iroquois. There's no other, like, route up to Iroquois, so and it's called orphaning if you go up Algonquin and just leave the one that you could get while you're up there. So that one was like a 15-hour day. We did 2 peaks in one day. It was pretty brutal, but also phenomenal. But
Wow.
there's all sorts of, and there's another peak up there, right, that we skipped because it was just, we would have lost our daylight then. And these are not like trails that you want to be on when you can't see, because there's a lot
Mhm.
of like rock scrambling, like serious rock scrambling, uh, and stuff like that. So yeah,
Yikes.
it's pretty cool, the whole thing.
Wow, that is so cool.
Yeah.
What a fun thing that your daughter's got that adventurous spirit too.
I know. I just, for the record, when we were about a quarter mile from the top of the one that we did on Friday, she was like, "I don't want to be a 46er anymore." It's like me either. This sucks. Then you get up there and you're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing.
Not always how it is.
Then I mean, coming down is I think harder than going up because your legs are so tired and you just have to be it's like all rock scramble, or like you're basically walking in a riverbed that's going straight down, so you have to be so careful where you step and how you step, and your legs are so tired. It's just like,
Oh my gosh. I don't know that I would want to do that.
you never know until you try it. If I showed you the pictures, you might change your mind.
I know. Your pictures are amazing. They do make me jealous.
So, Allison, can I share with you the a major takeaway besides the fact that I start everything saying hello, hello, hello. So we had a retreat with 20 people, give or take, right? It was so, so, so good. But of the 20 people that were there, 20 people said to me, I totally thought you would be way taller.
So that's why you're named. We got titles on today, and Jes is a special one.
I am only 5'3".
I'm only 5'4".
Okay, so there you go. How tall did you guys think Allison was? And
I'm also not tall.
But they all said it repeatedly.
Oh, that's funny.
I'm so surprised. Biggest takeaway, Jes's height.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's very funny.
So you had a wonderful first retreat that you made happen. That's awesome. So proud of you.
It was incredible. It really actually exceeded my expectations. So.
Awesome. That is awesome. I'm so happy
And
for everybody got to go.
Margie was on our podcast before. Hey, Margie, do you want to come on and share what you did on the retreat? Let me know in the comments, and if so, we can bring you on. Tammy, okay, good. I'm glad that we are the same height.
Maybe it is just all a perspective thing. Like if you're short yourself, I just I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Apparently, I have a large personality. I was like,
no. What are you talking about?
Oh my gosh. Margie, we don't care that you just got out of bed. Margie, she probably just got home. She got home super late at night. Well, Margie, can I share your story then of what you did on the first day of the retreat? So the retreat was called Falling into Empowerment, and Margie had a very special idea of how to fall into empowerment that she executed. Like, okay. So
you have permission.
We have permission to share Margie's story. So we were up in Lake Placid, and it was cold and raining. So I was really focusing on the cozy vibe, right? Because cold and raining. We had a nor'easter. It was in the 30s, But we had 2 hikes planned, and we had a very special hiking guide who was with us, Mel from Yoga Adirondacks. If you guys are in the Adirondacks and want to go hiking with the best guide ever, who will stop and do meditation and yoga with you around every bend, talk to Mel.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Right? Yes. So Mel, we had an easy hike and an intermediate hike, and we had to end up canceling the intermediate one because it was actually pouring down buckets of rain, and we didn't feel that everybody was properly geared for that sort of experience. But we did, right?
Certain required gear.
Or as my friend says, safety second. So the whole entire leading up to this event, Margie was, I want to say this in a nice way, taunting another group member that not only were they going to come to the retreat, but they were going to do a polar plunge into the water. And this other group member was taking it in stride. But when we got there, Margie had to actually make good on her words. So we went on this beginner hike, which took like 3.5 hours because we stopped and meditated and yoga and the whole thing, and observed nature and all of the things that you do to make a hike a really good experience. And when we got to the lake, Margie and Brenda and Wendy whipped off their clothing. Now, they were wearing bathing suits because they were planning for this, but in this freezing cold rain, and polar plunged into the lake. And it was phenomenal to watch. I mean, like a boss.
Oh my gosh, Marcy. That's amazing.
And Margie had no choice. It was her idea. She'd been taunting other people in the group about it for the whole entire run. Margie, I wish you could be up here. So the other thing that Margie did, which I was just blown away by, was she drove up from North Carolina to Lake Placid. It's like, I don't know, 14 hours. I don't know how long. It's a really long drive. And she's just like, oh, we'll just stop at a hotel along the way. Couldn't find a hotel, so slept in her car in a rest area on the ride up. Now, if that's not a badass.
She is. Oh my gosh. That is so impressive. I love it.
Lots of empowering things happening.
So many empowering things. What a space you created for everybody to embrace their own badass.
It was so fun. Seriously.
That is awesome.
Oh, let me just turn that off.
You're so popular.
I get constant messages all day long, and I don't think it's because I'm popular.
That is awesome. So what was your favorite thing, if you could pick one, about your week?
I think just that it went well. When you put together, so Gina did most of the work, like dealing with the hotel, and really, she did a ton of back end work, and I am forever grateful for Gina and everyone who I work with. They are like seriously the best of the best, and I always want to make sure that they stay with me. So, we've been talking a lot about why people are leaving jobs and how just upper management, when they don't recognize and really appreciate and show appreciation for the people who work for them, it destroys your morale and really makes you want to leave your job. And I have the deepest appreciation for the people that work with me. I think you guys are just so amazing, phenomenal. I mean, I can't say thank you enough. And Gina, she is so relaxed and zen about everything, and detail oriented. So it's like the exact opposite of how I operate. It's so good. So anyway, it was a relief that it all went so incredibly well. And my biggest takeaway is that I want to do way more in-person events, like a lot more, which was not what was on my radar when I went into this. I was like, we'll do this retreat, we'll do another one in 6 months, and we'll do another one 6 months after that, and because we need to be meeting each other in person. But I actually want to go and be in front of a live audience. Like, that's, Wendy pointed out to me, that's how this whole thing started, was when I was doing workshops in libraries in front of a live audience, and live in-person audience. And I so want to do that again. They put the microphone in my hand, Allison and I could not stop.
You were born for it. You're born for the stage.
Don't give me a microphone. It's going to go on forever.
I love it. That's awesome. What a cool thing to really let come back into your life, because it was all starting in person stuff, and then you brought it all online into the academy that you created.
Well, and then COVID also,
and then COVID, right. But it also takes a certain kind of person, I think, with a certain kind of gifting to do in-person things. I think they're really fun to participate in. I don't know if I like the overall figuring it all out. I want to go be part of one.
That's why
we just all need Gina. Gina, you're so loved.
So I'm so curious if you guys want to share with me and Allison in the comments what type of events you would be interested in going to. I'm trying to think of how, because we have to justify everything to ourselves and other people around us, right? We don't have to,
Mhm.
but we have to. So, Allison, this might be a good mindset topic to talk about.
Yeah.
I was thinking if I do live speaking engagements, I would call them clutter conferences because it's pretty easy to say I'm going to a clutter conference, but to say I'm just going to see a speaker or something doesn't feel like as justifiable. I don't know. Am I wrong about that?
Um, yeah, I think the way you title something is really helpful to just make it have an understanding of what you're doing because we we buy on emotion and we have to justify ourselves logically in our minds after we think about wanting things. So you can already have this whole, audience of people who wants to come just because they know you so well now and wants to be part of it. But our logical mind does want to know, like, okay, what am I actually doing there and what am I getting out of it?
Right. So if you say you're
Mm.
going to a clutter conference, it sounds very justifiable because you're going to come back with real skills, right? So
Mhm.
we have to start with skills, even though it's all mindset really at the end of the day.
We always bring people in with the action steps, and then they find out that it's all in your mind afterwards. This is the
Yes,
big bait and switch.
yes, exactly. Oops. But it's how we get you moving. I mean, that's the
No, that's
key
how we
to
function
success.
as humans.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's how we're created to function because we understand actions. It makes sense, like, it makes sense with that's why all of us love step by steps and we love, okay, tell me the how and give me the what. And then once you get started into the process, then it's easier to even have then you have a space to even understand the things that come up mentally, what was behind it all the whole time. You kind of need that to even get it.
Yes, I agree.
That's I feel like whenever I feel like I coach a variety of different kinds of people, but a lot of the people that I coach do come first with this idea of like, I just want to experience a better life. I want to have better relationships. I want to go pursue something that I want to do, or I want to just be happy and enjoy myself more. And so those are all, that's all that same kind of thing. It's the actions that you want and the experience you want to have.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, would you have options of joining via Zoom for those of us that are distance away? Yeah, so we actually thought about how we could incorporate a Zoom audience. I just didn't want to commit to that without knowing the Wi-Fi. But now we know that the Mirror Lake Inn where we had our retreat at has excellent Wi-Fi, and we will definitely have an option to join via Zoom for upcoming events for sure.
Do you want to do it in the same location, or do you
So
have
next
ideas of
year
different
we wanna
locations?
do like an annual Lake Placid because the location was really, really, really perfect. The hotel was, I mean, it was ideal, right? It was
Mhm.
absolutely ideal. We had our own, one of the key things for me was that I wanted to have 24-hour access to a conference room because
Mhm.
I wanted everyone to be able to go in there whenever they wanted to, not just for our workshops and everything, but say you wanted to meditate or do some yoga or have a miracle morning. I wanted to have access to that conference room all the time. And most of the hotels that we talked to were very restrictive about the conference room. Like, oh, well, it has to be, we have to know your exact setup every single day. And like, there's no
Ah.
power of flexibility here. We need, the Mirror Lake Inn was like, here's the conference room, here's another room. How much can we give you? And they
Mhm.
were so flexible and so accommodating. And we had two fireplaces in our main conference room. So we actually, it was so cozy. There were couches. It didn't look like a corporate conference room. It looked like a
Mhm.
Clutter Boss conference room. There were
That's
restaurants and spas,
awesome.
you didn't need a car. I'm looking at the comments here and reading. It was, the major disadvantage was that it was a difficult location to get to, but once you were there, it was ideal. So, we're definitely gonna try and do an annual one in Lake Placid and then have another one, or 1 or 2 or however many in other locations that are a little bit more accessible. So,
That's
yep.
cool.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about, like, taking it on the road and, like, all over?
Yes. That's what I'm
Yeah,
thinking about doing now.
that's what yeah. It's like, "Do you wanna come to Ohio?"
I do. Do you wanna have a clutter conference in Ohio?
Yes.
My gosh, Allison, you would have to be a keynote speaker, though.
Well, I mean, I could do that. You come to my state, I can do that.
All right. That's what, because I want to start next, like, I want this to be like a 2022, like kick it off, start doing this right away. And just because it was so invigorating to be in front of people and talking to live humans that I could see and joke with. And,
Yeah, there's something about the tangible human interaction that I just crave so much. So I totally get that.
yeah.
Yeah, let's do
Yeah.
it.
So we'll put Ohio on the calendar for next year. I have a couple of cities already picked out. So
Yay!
I don't know how this is all going to happen, but it's going to happen. And I don't need to know the details. We're just
You're
putting it out to the universe.
that right there is just perfect. I love it how you're like, I don't need to know the details. We're just going to put it out there. We're going to get it started because that's how anything starts. That's how anything
Right.
happens.
Right.
There's a whole like trail we could go on with that alone, that so many people just don't do things because of the fear of how it's all going to work out. And I
We have a lot
love
of
that about you.
Ohioans in here. Have we talked about how people in Ohio seem to have a lot of clutter? Because there's so much Ohio in all of my groups. Or for some
I'm not
reason,
surprised.
like lands in Ohio where I don't know. It seems like I have a disproportionate number of Ohioans across all of my groups.
It's the
Maybe I love
Midwest.
I love Ohio.
It's yeah, I could see that. That's funny. We've got someone saying Orlando. That'd be fun too.
Yeah, Orlando. The thing is, I hate going to big cities like where there's a
Yeah.
lot of commercialism. Now, Orlando will definitely happen at some point because I have family in Orlando, so it's like an easy, but like Vegas and Orlando, like I just don't care for like very commercialized. I feel like it's the antithesis of what we talk about and all the time, right? Like consumerism. It's all about consumerism.
Yep. I hear you.
Ohio is pretty, Diana. I agree.
It's very pretty right now. Yeah.
Wisconsin sounds amazing also. Yes.
Jess, you're gonna do the whole show on the road. You're gonna be everywhere. That's awesome.
I have to share with you. I put this on my Instagram story yesterday, but when I posted on my Instagram story thinking of taking the show on the road, like where should I go, blah blah blah. And my daughter responded and she says, "Bruh," which is what my kids call me, BRUH. Bruh, you got to teach dad how to do dishes if you're going to go on a speaking tour.
I have to know when did they start calling you bruh? Because this is like, I'm seeing this everywhere and I want to know the age that this starts so I can prepare myself.
This is a pretty recent thing. I would say maybe 13-ish.
Okay. All right. So I got a couple years.
Colleen and I were talking about this. Colleen's one of my coaches, and she said that she saw like a comedian or someone sharing, everyone prepares you as a mom for when they go from, like mama to mommy to like, whatever, but nobody prepares you for the transition to bruh.
I can't do that.
It makes me feel very cool, I have to say, that I'm referred to as bruh.
It makes you feel cool. When did it change from bro to bruh? I thought bro was the word.
When they first were saying it, I thought they were saying bra. I'm like, why would you call somebody a bra? They're like, bruh, it's bruh.
Mom, duh. It's like duh. It's like bruh, duh.
Bruh, duh.
Oh my god.
There's other things that they tell me that I kind of forget, and then I'm like, wait, what did that mean again? Like, what is that word? Bussin'. This is another one. Bussin'. I had like on our hike a very long, detailed discussion about when it's appropriate to say bussin'.
I don't know this word.
I mean, I think it means like I agree, it's good, something like so. Like if I serve dinner and the girls liked it, they're like, "Mom, this is bussin'." Like
what? Oh
Yeah.
gosh. So it's like literally I have to learn a new language for when they hit teenage years.
Yes, you absolutely have to
Okay.
learn teenage language. And also acronyms is the other thing that I found out from like looking at my kids' text messages and whatever. I can't even understand half of the things that they're writing because it's all acronyms. It's all like just like a string of letters that do not make up a word. They all like represent a word or a phrase that I have to then go to the Urban Dictionary and figure out what is this word or phrase that is in it. So it's like basically like it's learning a new language. So you have like the text message here, the translator here, which is the Urban Dictionary. And for every single string of letters, you have to compare that to the Urban Dictionary. And then the Urban Dictionary, sometimes there's multiple meanings, and you're like, did they mean this really disgusting one or this less disgusting one? So you have to put it into context. Very confusing.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not kidding.
Denise, that one's good to know.
Parent over shoulder.
POS equals
POS.
parent over shoulder.
Could
I
also mean piece of, that's what I'm
right, like
saying.
how
You're
do you
like,
know?
you have multiple meanings.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I don't want this. I don't want this.
But I think when we were kids, we probably had words that our parents didn't know or
I don't
approve of.
remember.
Like, I mean, like, dough. Is that like DOH? Dough.
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah, I remember that one, but I don't remember a lot of.
Slang.
It's an odd thing. I'm like, I
It
don't
is.
even remember that time of my life hardly at all. Showing my age, I guess,
There's
but
also like, there's other language like, so is it sweater weather means like that's somebody asking you about your gender or your sexual preference. So that's
I
like
didn't
a
know any of
code
that either.
thing, right? So I was like, I thought
Oh
that was
my
a common false statement. Like,
I thought it was too. Oh dear. Jess, I might be in trouble.
all this code talk,
Yeah,
viral
so
code talk.
so so your daughter called you out on teaching your husband how to do dishes. Well, she actually called out her dad, but that's maybe actually a good thing if you were to just step away for a bit and let everybody figure it out.
Oh, I think it's a great thing.
Yeah.
I mean, so my kids both cook. So like, and so when they came home, we were away for the weekend and then I went to my conference and they came home with my husband and they Instacarted groceries that they needed and figured out how to, meals. But nobody likes to do the dishes. And Anastasia sent me another funny text message that was like, Dad said, I did the dishes for you. And then it's like a picture of the sink where everything is soaking. Because one of my husband's techniques to avoid doing dishes is to like say that everything needs to be soaked, which I don't think he's alone in that one. I've heard from other people that that's like a common way that other people also avoid doing dishes with the soaking. Everything needs to be, we're just going to soak all. Like for me, the dishes are done when the sink is totally empty. Everything is dried and put away. If it doesn't fit in the dishwasher, hand wash it. Like just get every dish done. There is
Mhm.
no soaking. You can scrub.
That's really funny. So the thought there on his mind is that if I let it soak for you, then I am then exempt from the actual having to wash
Well,
part,
it's like
like,
I'm
then I've done the
helping out.
work.
Like I can't do those dishes because there's stuff on them, so they have to soak
Mm,
first,
mhm,
right? It's like I
mhm.
helped you out. I soak. He'll actually say like, "Oh, I helped you out by soaking everything." It's not a help.
But the water goes cold so fast. Like, every time that I soak anything, I forget about it for an hour, and then it was pointless because I don't
Yes,
wanna put
it's
my
called
hands
scrubbing.
in cold water. It's
So
funny.
I agree with my kids. My husband will have to learn how to actually do dishes or not. I mean, they'll survive either
Either
way.
way.
Doesn't
When
matter to me.
when did your kids start, preparing meals themselves? Because
I really
I'm
should show you the video that Anastasia sent me.
feeling a little bit behind on what I'm teaching my
Um,
kids.
They they have always been preparing meals and cooking with me for their whole entire lives. I can't say for sure when they started preparing meals by themselves, but They're fully capable of preparing meals by themselves, start to finish now, both of them. So,
That is awesome. That
yeah.
that is an area that I personally hate. So, I'm, like, trying to teach them at the same time as I'm trying to teach myself, which works to some extent, but haven't made it a high
Um,
priority.
with one way you can teach your kids to cook is to do those meal delivery services where you have to prepare them still, like,
Mhm.
I think like HelloFresh or
Mhm.
what's that? Blue Apron. So those
Mhm.
are really, really good to teach kids how to cook also because they have all the instructions and everything is like pre-measured in little packages. It's not environmentally super friendly, but gotta prioritize your sanity. Um, I had like we went through a phase of Blue Apron and the kids could do all like I would just give them the whatever, just everything was there and ready to go and they just had to actually cook it. So that's a good like easy entry point for
Yeah,
cooking.
that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Cool.
Do you wanna see the video that Anastasia sent me of her cooking the tacos? It's actually hilarious.
Yes, please.
Alright, hold on, I gotta pull it up on my screen here. Um, I've been showing everyone not be to, like totally not to, like, say, "Oh my gosh, look at my daughter," but to say, like, "Oh my god, your kids are so capable," like, let them be capable, like, empower them to do stuff, and so then they can just they're good, they can take care of themselves, it's like it's so good.
Mm.
Liz saw the video already, she yeah, it's very entertaining. Alright, let me see how I can actually share this. Start talking, Allison.
Ah. I think all the time about how I'm gonna make my kids capable, like how I'm gonna actually feel like I did what I wanted to do when I send them out into the world. And I saw this post one time about a lady having her daughter do the grocery budget and like figuring it all out and like itemizing all these things and figuring out what they needed because she was making her wildly capable. And I just love that phrase, wildly capable, and it's always stuck with me. It's also really easy for me to like slip into judgment about myself, like, oh, I haven't taught them this, and I haven't taught them this, and they're so behind on all these things. But one of the things that I've just been really thinking about is how do I in very, very small amounts teach them things, like, so that I don't feel overwhelmed in all the stuff that I'm trying to get in their head before they leave my house. But I also feel like we're getting something moving along the way, just inch by inch. I had my son do dinner the other night, and he did spaghetti. So that was, actually the first time he's ever cooked dinner, and I pretty much showed him everything, but then, like, I went to the gym. So it was like, "Here's exactly what you're gonna do and what you're gonna look for, and I'm leaving, and here's what I'm gonna help you with when I come back." And I just feel like those kinda little steps are all that I can really handle right now. They can't survive on their own by any stretch of the imagination, but I do feel like they're building a lot of confidence in themselves because I think that's really what it's about is their confidence in each of the steps. And I feel like I'm building a lot of confidence in them right now with keeping the house picked up. That's been a big focus of ours. And like the different steps of cleaning, that's been a thing I've been trying to focus on a lot for the past several months. So
I think it's
it's just a
important to
lot
remember
of life skills.
yeah, it's
Like
all life skills, and
there's
it's never too
so
late,
many though.
right? It's never too late to learn them. It's not like you missed the boat on teaching your kids how to cook. Like, I didn't learn how to cook until I was in college, and I taught
Yeah.
myself via the Food Network, right? I never had cable growing up, like, I went to
Mhm.
college. I think the Food Network, it was just, like, maybe it was around I don't know. It's just maybe it wasn't just getting started. I don't know. It was just getting started for me, but I taught myself how to cook on the Food Network, with the Food Network. I don't think it's ever too late, so don't beat yourself up. Like
Well, I feel like sometimes it's so late that I am doing this. Because I just really haven't had the interest. And I know a lot of it was, there was like some fears involved, but also I I like to make things that last. Food is not something like that, so it frustrates me.
You can make
But
it last a little bit.
like 5 minutes.
All right, I think I figured out how to share this, video. Let me see if it works. I had to convert it.
at you, so tech savvy.
Jes
Oh,
Marcy, meet.
all right, hold on. I got it going. All right, so Anastasia put this on TikTok, or it's a TikTok. I don't know anything about TikTok, but this is a TikTok. It's like a speeded up. She's making tacos for dinner. So
Okay.
Tacos right now. Jes Marcy, meet. Just still kind of frozen. Oh well.
She's 14, by the way. There's some scary knife stuff in here. I'm just gonna warn you.
Now we have the pepper. Yes. Fuck.
I'm like taking notes.
Powder. Olive oil. Pepper. Salt. And now I need to unload the dishwasher. All this has to go. Okay, unload the dishwasher. And burnt it.
Yeah, her knife skills are awesome. Now I'm hungry.
Tacos right now. Jes.
That's actually awesome because I think that, and somebody else said this, a clutter network. I think there's
love it.
something about putting something into a production that makes it so much more fun. So
I
I love
know.
that you did that.
I know. I have been showing that video to everyone because it just makes me laugh so much. I showed it to my husband because, of course, she didn't share it with him, even though he was there, right? He was like at home, but she was just doing that thing. He goes, "Oh my God, this is scary watching her with that knife." I'm like, "Well, where were you?"
You're like, you were there. Did you not see it at the time?
But I mean, she totally, like, she's been using knives for her whole life with supervision, my
Mhm.
supervision, clearly. So she's fine. I mean,
One of the first cooking classes that I ever took was knife skills. And that really changed like even my thoughts on what I could do because everything seemed so long before. And now it's like, oh, it's really just like this. And just the skill of learning how to use that. That's awesome.
yeah, learning how to use a knife is a really big skill that
Mhm.
another thing that people don't like. I don't remember being taught how to use a knife to
Mm-mm.
actually chop, right?
Yeah.
Like
Mm-mm.
nobody taught me that.
It's kind of scary too. Like my my husband just sharpened my favorite good kitchen knife and I'm like, "Oh, now I don't know if I want my kids to use this." Like I'm really nervous.
But it's safer when it's sharp than when it's dull.
Is
Like
it?
a sharp knife is safer than a dull knife because you have more opportunity for accident with a dull knife if it doesn't actually cut, and then it can still cut you, but like a
Mhm.
sharp knife is actually a safer knife.
Okay. That's a good thought to hold on to. I'm just seeing like a whole end of a finger off.
Yeah, well, you gotta be careful. But if you teach them how to use like how to hold it correctly, so I always had them put one hand on the end, like the sharp end of it, and then lift like so they could like pivot up with the other hand. So there's no chance they're gonna like actually, you know what I'm saying? Like, so you hold down the end of the sharp end with one hand, loosely hold it down, and then just go up and down with the other hand.
Mhm.
Then there's no ability, then your fingers aren't getting underneath or inside, or, I mean, you also, knuckles, not fingertips.
That's
Like,
what they say, to kinda, like, hold it like this, but then, like, they also say to push it towards the knife, which I always found tricky to figure out.
we need knife
We all need
skills
math
lessons.
lessons.
Yes, we do, Amber. YouTube, go to YouTube or TikTok. So the kids are all learning on TikTok these days,
TikTok
but
is really fun.
TikTok is awesome for recipes
Is it?
and cooking. Yes. Yeah.
How long did that take her to edit that?
I have no idea. I don't know, but
Because
like
it seems like a lot. I think that's the thing that I don't totally get, and they're also fast and savvy at it.
I know. There's so like the editing is so, and I guess so I don't know how to use TikTok to like upload videos, but the editing is so good, and it's just the interface is really user friendly.
Mhm. I've been only using TikTok to watch dance movies or videos. I just wanna learn those.
It's a great learning platform, nice and quick.
You just
Yeah, I
have
have
to
no idea how long
replay it
it's
a lot of times.
what's that?
You just have to replay it, like, a lot of times.
Yes,
Like, "Wait, go back to that again."
exactly.
That's awesome.
Oh, it doesn't take any editing. You record that in mode from what I understand from my daughter. Okay, so that's helpful. Yeah, I don't know
Oh,
anything about it.
well, maybe I need to learn more TikTok. I
TikTok
think
skills.
I'm a little bit afraid of getting addicted to it because just even, like, going on to look at stuff, I can be on there for an hour and not even realize it.
I do think it's the easiest social media platform to get lost in.
Completely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all you've did like after 1 hour, you've watched 61-minute videos.
Right? I mean, talk about fracturing your brain.
Yes.
This is the thing about social media that has been such a frustration for me with just all of the stuff that I learn and that I coach on. It's like our brain gets so addicted to the endorphins. It's like switching channels and the back and forth. And it's so much of splitting up information that now we don't even know how to sit for several minutes without that, which
It's
really,
so
really
true.
disrupts any kind of true intentional thinking and being.
I know. What are
Yeah.
your best tips for finding intentionality?
Hmm.
Actually doing it. Action steps, Allison. I want action steps.
Well, I think the biggest thing is to like developing a really high awareness because the biggest thing that we get lost in is just this total unawareness of what we're even doing. I mean, I do it all the time. I reach for my phone and I'm like, wait, I have nothing to check for. I just checked it 5 minutes ago. Why am I actually even reaching for this? And so just starting to be really conscious of your consciousness, like the thinking about your thinking and what you're doing. I think that kind of develops this hyper sense that you can use to identify when you're going to do things and when you're reaching for things when there's actually no need for it and you could just sit and just let yourself be for a minute. And also heightening your awareness of feelings in any moments because usually when we're reaching for something there's some kind of discomfort with like within our body physically or whether it can be labeled as emotion or not, and that is a really really good place to be because that's the kind of thing that actually sparks our creativity and our imagination and our longer streams of consciousness. And but it feels a little bit uncomfortable and the fear side of our brain just doesn't like that. So it just always reaches for something to fill that discomfort. It's why we run to the pantry, reach for our phone, you know, do whatever besides just sitting and being. So being really aware of just yourself in your body, and then when you reach for things, can give you a whole lot more choices and options for what you're going to do with, at any given time of the day, which can really start to change your days and everything else.
I've been thinking of doing something radical, and that is using my phone just as a phone.
Hmm.
You've been
Yeah,
saying it feels scary.
I know it does feel scary. I've been toying around with some ideas like that too. And so I've been really paying attention to my phone, like when I'm reaching for it. And I'm like, why am I reaching for that? This is really literally just so habitual and so subconscious. And the thing is that I've noticed though, is that I have this thought that I don't have time. Like I have so much time and I'm so overwhelmed by stuff. But the only reason I have any kind of feeling of that at all, of everything being like all crammed together in no time, is because I'm filling every split second with information or something else all the time. And just even like 5 minutes of practicing this, like, okay, I'm not going to reach my phone. Suddenly I feel like there's so much spaciousness. Like, but now what do I do? Like now there's time and now I don't know what to do and now I'm bored and then your mind starts to go with that.
I do think that this is a reason that people have clutter is because we're scared of what happens if we have time. And
Yeah.
then we have to figure out who we are and what are we going
Yeah.
to do? And, what if? And actually, it's a fear of, and it's not that having clutter is, I mean, having clutter steals your time, but it's also a really awesome excuse to not do other stuff that makes you
Uh-huh.
feel uncomfortable because I have to take care of all these boxes, even though you don't actually take care of all the boxes. Like
Mhm.
it's a great excuse to like prevent you from moving forward,
It's a
whether
barrier.
you recognize it or not, right?
Mhm. Yeah, it's a barrier, and we do that with everything. We do that with, literally everything. We'll set it up as almost this mask, right? And then we can't really get to the real issues going on because what we're all sort of afraid of is, okay, once I'm in that space with all this room and all this spaciousness and all this actual time that I do have, what's that going to be like with myself in that space? And
Yeah.
it's learning how to be with yourself. And it's so crazy because learning how to be with yourself can be like that's really the joy of life. The most incredible, like then you get to decide what are the things that sound fun to me? What are the things that I've always wanted? What are the desires I've always had? And I get to actually take that seriously and think of it as an option. But it just feels we have so much conditioning that being with ourselves is a place of shame or judgment or it's unknown and it's scary and we're just not going to be able to deal with our head talk or whatever, that we push that space away so much.
Well, and it's also why, there's a lot of, so in talking to so many people over the last 2 years, I mean, thousands and thousands, right? What comes up so often is, I don't matter. I'm not
Mm,
important. You know, my needs are not the priority. I hear this over and over and over again and have experienced it myself as well.
mhm.
Just, you know, I don't matter. And so if I have all this time to consider my own thoughts and feelings, what difference does it make? Because I don't matter.
Right.
I'm
Right.
insignificant.
Right. And that is a narrative that plays out in so many people's minds. And the problem with that is that your basic needs as a human are still there and the basic feelings of emptiness are still going to be there. And so by by living out that story of I actually don't matter, you're just hiding the fact that you're trying to subconsciously fill those needs. Like so it's turns into like um resentment and bitterness and like bad relationships because I'm coming to it as a drain instead of feeling like I'm already full. So as much as we like to tell ourselves those stories, the truth is we do matter and our needs are like our basic human needs are important and are beyond basic human needs of just being a human being and what we bring to the world and our utter uniqueness is absolutely important and we're just hiding it behind the story because we're still living out the truths of this actually is important. it's so easy for us to just yeah, it's so easy for us to say those things, but I'm like, but you're not actually living out of that truth. That's just a story that's hiding the real truth. Because
Right.
you can look around you at you're in a relationship with your kids, your relationship with your spouse, your relationship with your friends, any kind of actual like action things you want to do and experience in life with work or anything like that. It is all directly affected by the way in which you have a story about yourself. So if that's the story that you're going to have about yourself, you're going to see very negative things as all around because of it. This
Change
is
your
like
story,
one of
change your
my
life.
soapboxes. One of my soapboxes.
And you can hear more from Allison at our Ohio tour.
I love how we always like get to like the last 15 minutes and then it's like, here's all the stuff.
You gotta get the like little bits out in the beginning, the catching up and everything, and then we like, it's like the big giant aha, and then we have to name our show and end.
I know. Here you go. Take it and run.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
So good.
So Allison, how has your week been? I feel like I, as usual, monopolized the conversation. Sorry about that.
No. So it's actually funny because I'm such a responder that I love it when you, I feel like I have much more to bring to the table in response. So that's good. I knew you had a lot to talk about too. It was such a big week for you. What did I even do this week? I honestly, I feel like there are so many things going on, and I like forget what I've even done. Like yesterday, I'm getting my whole entire house like perfectly cleaned right now, which is a big deal for me. My kids are hard at work because they have some Halloween candy from a trunk or treat, and they want to use it as their rewards, and I am just milking that for all it's worth.
Can we just talk about trunk or treat for a second? Did you have trunk or treat when you were a kid? I did
No,
not have trunk or treat. This is like,
I didn't have trick or treat. I didn't ever trick or treat when I was a kid. My
why
parents didn't
not?
do it. We just didn't do it. I think that I have pictures of me when I was like 3. I don't really remember, but I don't remember doing it growing up at all. I think it was partly our neighborhood. We were in a pretty rough neighborhood. It had like one street that was good and then like one street that was terrible and one street that was good. It was like you didn't really know what it was. You didn't want to be out at night. So I just didn't experience it. So now I kind of feel like I'm living through my kids a little bit because they have so much fun with their costumes and they have the best costumes this year. It's so good.
So what are they going to be for Halloween?
My youngest is one of those blow up T-Rexes. And
I
he's
love that
literally been talking about it for months. And he just walks around with this big blow up. It's so great. My daughter got this. I think the title of it was like a snow warrior. So it's like almost looks like a huntress. I think of like the Hunters of Artemis. We just read all the Percy Jackson books, and she looks awesome. It's fur and a bow and arrow and this hood and stuff. It's cool. And then my son is a stick man, a light up stick man. It looks amazing. It's all black. It's like this black sweatsuit and it has the shape of in these like LED like tube lights of a stick man. So there's like a circle here and then a stick. So he lights up as a stick man at night. And we put like a black kind of mask to cover his face because it didn't come with something like that. But you can see through it. He looks like a walking glow stick man. It's amazing.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
It is amazing. And I'm actually dressing up this year because one of my best friends is having a party tonight. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to dress up for the first time in years. So that's going to be fun.
So what are you dressing up as?
I'm going to be the Spartan Queen from the 300 movie. She's actually a real life character too. And she was awesome. Her name was Gorgo, I think. Funny name, but she was like a freaking awesome character.
Allison Gorgo.
Are you dressing up this year?
No.
Do you ever?
I have it on occasion in the past, but only if somebody forces me to do it.
So you don't prefer it? You've never enjoyed it?
I don't love Halloween. but I don't hate Halloween either. But I love that my
kinda feel
kids
the
do their own Halloween, and I don't like all the candy. I mean, the sugar just drives me crazy, but I try and be like chill about it in my own non-chill way. Although I am like, I mean, at this point, it's just they're old enough. They do whatever they do, and yeah, that's that. But I just don't like trunk or treat. I think that's. I'm not a big trunk or treat fan. I refuse to participate in trunk or treat. I will do trick or treat, right? But trunk or treat, no.
It was something their school last year was putting on in their parking lot, and so we knew they'd see a lot of their friends there. So it was more like a way to be really, really social because everybody's rolled tight in together. So yeah, but I understand.
So like really, people pull up into a parking lot, open up their trunks, and there's candy in there? Like, how does this all go?
So they decorate their cars. So like each one had a theme and they had like a whole contest, like for the best one. So there were some people did some really, really elaborate things, which was pretty interesting.
Yeah,
It's just like a way to condense it all for a more social effect, I think. But we go around a neighborhood also that we do every year. So not my neighborhood. Mine's not super conducive for that, but it's fun. The kids like it. It's always cold. It's always freezing. That's the thing. I'm like, I love seeing you dress up. I love seeing how excited you get about this whole thing. And then by the end of the night, I'm totally done with it.
Well, and that's right. If you're in the northern part of the country, Halloween is freezing. You need like a warm costume.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Every time. And it's always even this year, it felt like the weather stayed pretty warm for a long time, but just drops right at the time when you're all going to be wearing costumes.
Right until Halloween. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's fun. I think the dressing up is fun. Like once every couple of years. I don't really love doing it every year. This is the first I mean, it's been years. I don't even know the last time I dressed up. But I do. The last time I dressed up, I was pregnant with Connor. So 6 years ago. And I was an easy button. Just put a big easy button there.
I love that.
I know, it's so fun.
We actually made Anastasia. We like basically have an amazing costume every other year for the kids, or we did, when we were making their costumes. But Anastasia one year was a table and a lampshade. And so we actually made her this whole but then it turns out she couldn't easily walk because she couldn't see the ground.
Oh no.
So
that's quite impressive.
But it looked really good.
I will tell you, and this is only I love crafts, like making really interesting things like that. I don't have a lot of time, but I love the idea of it. I used to do more of that stuff. But then I'm like, what do I do with it? It's like any of my big art projects. It's hard to throw things away when you put a lot of work into it. But also, I don't think I'll ever use this again.
You have the pictures and the memories, Allison.
Pictures and the memories, and let it live for like a couple of weeks, and then say goodbye.
Right, let the kids play with it for a little while, and then,
yes,
it's that was its lifespan, and that's okay.
That's a good way of putting it. That was its
everything
lifespan.
Has a lifespan. Some is a long, some is short. Is
Yeah, it's good. Good thoughts to hold on to.
All right, so we're at the end of our hour, and we need a name. We need a subtitle for our podcast. So drop your suggestions into the comments, and I quickly will backtrack because there's about 10 questions in here about my short Clutter Coach. If you missed the beginning, when we went on our retreat this week, the number one thing that I heard and people's main takeaway was that I'm much shorter than they anticipated. So now I just said, I'm going to put this out there. I'm only 5'3". I love being 5'3". This is not a bad thing. I am not tall.
Not a problem.
I've never seen myself as tall. I've never thought other people are going to think that I'm tall. But in the age of Zoom everything, when you don't know somebody's height, I guess you can imagine them, even though you see them every day almost, right? You can imagine them to be a certain way and they are not. So Just want to clarify. I want to manage everyone's expectations for when you meet me in person. I am short.
And I'm not much taller, just by an inch. In case you were wondering.
So we have no comments about our title.
Ah,
Small packages.
there we go.
What we talked about: retreats, knife skills, getting on the road, getting out of your own way, Halloween, how much I dislike trunk or treating,
And being short.
and being short.
How can we wrap all that up?
What is the common theme?
There is no common theme.
That could be our title: No Common Theme.
No common theme. Well, as usual, I am not going to be any help with titles. This is why I
Mosh Posh Day. That's right, Rochelle. Mosh Posh Day. I am here using knives on the road. I like that, Becky. Knife skills and travel. So much to learn. Intentionality. Why people clutter: a little of this and a little of that. Hiking and knives.
We have such a good crowd. Just so good. I love that we ask for something and you just like, here we go. All the options.
We need to come up with our own acronym that teens don't understand.
There we go. There we go. We're going to make an acronym for this show that's just going to have a little bit of everything in it, and it's not going to make sense.
Exactly. Knife skills and mindset skills. KSMS. Be conscious of your conscious.
Yes.
Denise,
yes.
I love that one. Something about rotary dials.
That would be great. Just put something in the title that actually has nothing to do with the 10 things we talked about.
Exactly. All right. We'll just have to
We'll think about it.
Kids don't get that. That's right. Kids don't even get how to make a phone call. They don't know how to say hello or goodbye. That's what I've noticed. We could just call this one bruh.
That would be the perfect title.
Bruh.
Oh, that's great. Bruh.
All right.
Duh.
Bruh.
All right.
Bruh. I like bruh.
There we go.
Well, I hope that everyone listening has a phenomenal weekend. If you're doing that thing where you're listening to us later on, go ahead and like and subscribe. And bruh, it was awesome talking to you.
It was awesome, bruh. As always.
I don't think you're using it right, though.
I don't know how to use it. I feel like I just like laugh when I say it. You're not supposed to do that.
Becky, I found a friend in my town who's also a Clutter Boss member. Oh my gosh, I love that.
Awesome.
Meet up. Post pictures.
It's going to be a movement.
Endearment with a hint of frustration. Is that what the Urban Dictionary says?
Oh my
I would agree. That's very accurate.
Oh gosh.
Bruh.
Awesome.
All right, you guys. We'll see you next Friday. Allison, are you around next Friday? I'm around next Friday.
Yep, I'll be here.
All right, we'll be live next Friday.
All right.
Bye,
Thanks
everyone.
for coming, everybody. Goodbye, Jess.
Goodbye, Allison.